around us, react, respond, and think about it. Therefore, we have to constantly care how
Whew. Took me a long time to get everything right today. We're doing here. This goes. 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you hear me in it? All right, DC Realm. I got Sincere, DeBar. You got a couple listen names here. What's going on my screen? Can y'all hear me just fine? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me just fine? Anyone? Anybody out there? One, two, and two. Can y'all hear me? All righty then. Peace with the deal. Waiting for a couple more people to come in. You know, I'm feeling I'm in a flashback kind of mood today. You know, the older guys, they came and checked me today. Older guys came through, dropped some jewels on me. See, back in the day, this is when I used to come back and I'd be ready to air it out now because I got some jewels y'all ain't got. But, I digress, I guess. We the inside Darkim today, kindly, gently. What's going on with y'all out there? PC Realm. You got some what's going on? What's going on out there in the Midwest? You know, PC Realm always send me some interesting tidbits. Some interesting tidbits of current events. Yo, shout out, I don't know if it's true or not. But someone said Chuck Chill Out passed away. You know, Chuck Chill Out was he's from around the way. Like, I knew Chuck Chill Out and Funk Flex. You know, not like, we was peace like that, but Funk Flex was though, he was it was a brother named Wise, and they used to rest in the same house. It's like a 2-family house. And through knowing Wise, that's how we knew Funk Flex. But also just Chuck Chill Out. He was Friday night on Kiss, and Red Alert was Saturday night. So I actually spent a lot of Friday nights with Chuck Chill Out, making my tapes. You know what I'm saying? And listening to that music, and that was part of what got me into it. I was serious about it anyway, but shout out to Chuck Chill Out, man. I remember when we was out there when they did that video, Slave to the Rhythm, and a cool chick. Waiting for a few more people from the, if I missed that crew to come on. You know how they do when they get in, then they got 1,000 questions. Now I ain't got 1,000 answers. So we gotta get this, let's get the like button hit here so we can get some more people in. Where is our people? Damn it. I guess I don't know how much more minutes we're gonna wait. I mean, we got some. This is some pertinent information today. Pertinent information. El Divine. Look, we got a little preliminary question. Let me hit y'all with a little preliminary question here, right? Y'all know that right now we have the equinox, right? This is the vernal equinox, right? Does anybody know which aspect of the universal flag deals with the equinox? And by extension, the solstice. What element of our universal flag has to deal with that? Anyone? Buick? I should have put that one on earlier. Right? Went back in the days when we had the daily questions. Elder Ron said the moon. Anyone else? So that's what I'm saying. See how Elder Ron stepped right to the AM. I don't know what it is. Y'all gotta stop. I don't know if y'all be nervous or something. Anyone else? What element of our universal flag deals with the equinox and the solstice? Don't everybody answer at one time. See, I don't know. Y'all starting to make this, my return to the channel is, making it boring for me. I think I told y'all in the beginning when I started this channel out that, one thing I hate is to be talking and nobody don't understand what I'm saying. Like if I'm just talking, you ain't really grasping nothing. I got other things I could have been doing. But you gotta stay on point. You know what's funny? Like I said, the older brothers came to see me and somebody came up, right? It was a brother that I knew back in the days when I was a young guy, right? I might have told this story on here before, where, at the time, I had the knowledge like probably about 2 years, you know what I'm saying? So, I already, I got the knowledge, I got some understanding, you know what I'm saying? By that time, I was already a speaker, you know what I'm saying, in the nation, but, I'm just still a young guy. So I'm going around the older brothers, and so it was a brother that, he used to, I used to be with them. And, he had the knowledge in like 1965. That's what I recall him saying when we used to build. And one day we was walking down the street, I don't know I can't recall what the rest of the conversation was about, but what stood out was at a certain point in the conversation, he says, he suggested putting smoked turkey in your vegetables when you're cooking vegetables, right? And the reason was so that it could taste like you got ham hocks So your vegetable could taste like you got ham hocks in it. And at the time, in my mind, I was thinking, why would I want my food to taste like ham hocks? I couldn't, I didn't really grasp that. You know what I'm saying? But it was just something like, I just looked at him and then, like I said, it was one of those situations where, the brother had the knowledge before I was born. So, I'm just doing the knowledge. It's not like he said, put a ham hock in your food. So, but it was just like, yeah, that was suspect. You know what I'm saying? And, over the next couple of years, he ended up, well, one thing he did was, dealing with drugs, right? He ended up, becoming HIV positive. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That was also a lesson learned, as a young brother in terms of, where the law said, the best way to master certain things is to leave it alone. You know what I mean? So, at least he was good for that. But then in the next, whatever period of time, shortly after, like I said, this is over the course of maybe 2 years, 3 years maximum. The next thing, he became Muslim. And shout out to my NOI brother. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know I love y'all. I know y'all love me. But at that time, when somebody said that they turned Muslim, it was almost the same as them saying they HIV positive. At that time, people not really knowing 100% how it transmit and everything. If somebody told you that, it was kind of like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? So, just saying that to say that, each and every day, each and every way. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you got to stay on point. Like, just because you got the knowledge on a day, right? It don't mean that you're going to have the knowledge 10 years after that, 20 years after that. Like, I had the knowledge at least 25 years. So that's why we got to stay on point, man. You got to be vigilant, and, the daily practice. See, like I said, I couldn't tell all of the signs, right? Because, at the time I'm new in the nation and new to dealing with all these aspects of living. You know what I mean? Like, you walking and talking amongst all these brothers. But I thought that was suspect. And see, it's easy to see that when you walking and talking with people, right? Rather than, you just got acquaintances that y'all going, over the online or whatever. Y'all see each other every blue moon at the show and prove. To see what happens is, people put on their best face at the show and prove. Right? That's one day a year. Even the rally, that's one day a month. And even out of that one day, right, it's 6 hours. So for the other 142 hours a month, right, the other, let's say the show and prove is a 3-day affair. So the other 362 days a year, how do we know about that? For the new people that came in right now, I'm just was killing a little bit of time dealing with another interesting story. But the question on the table right now is, today is the equinox, right? So the question is, what element of our universal flag deals with the equinox, right? And by extension, the solstice, and by extension, Now I ain't even gonna give y'all that. So I might give y'all an answer like that. I told y'all I'm in flashback mode right now. See, we said freedom, not freebie. Not free. Who want to learn with teachers with one teacher self? So y'all, I don't know if y'all like that Darkim quite the same. I don't know if y'all would like that Darkim quite the same. But for all the new people that came in, did you catch the question? True self of the earth. That's actually a good one. You know what's funny? That's one of those can't miss answers. Like that's a true, that is a true 5% answer right there. Right. The issue though is that the planet Earth is not on the universal flag. I mean, unless you drawing something up, but you got the sun, moon, star, right? The seven, the black, the gold. You don't have the Earth per se. Anyone else? Anyone else? Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. I think I got to come around y'all blocks. You know, I'm not hearing from y'all. I'm not hearing from y'all. You know, people be trying to get on with today's live, man. Y'all, the sun, smell goods. The smell good says rays of the sun. Interesting answer. Uh, that is on the flag, and it is related. But the way the rays of the sun impact the planet, right, during the different times, whether it's the solstice, whether it's the equinox, to go into El Divine and DeBar's answer when you're talking about how much time it is in the day and how much time it is in the night, that's actually a result of uh, this element of the universal flag in application. Anyone? Anyone? Well, look, we got a lot of people, fair amount to where we was going. Now, the element of the universal flag that my man smell good. Did you do? You look that up? Did you Google that? Was I talking too long until you Googled that smell good? Did you come up with that on your own? But yeah, the 23.5-degree incline is the reason why we have the seasons, right? And as we pass through the seasons, we, what demarks them is the equinoxes and the solstices. So that's a little bit, I don't know if you think that's trivia, but that's in real life. The 23.5-degree incline is the reason why we have the seasons. So like I said, the incline is the reason that the light impacts us, right, either more directly or less directly. Well, I guess that's it. Live over we've had I think that's, are we satisfied? Yeah, gee, I think I'm gonna have to be like the other people, man. See, being a child don't talk to me no more. Y'all don't build. Look, get the likes up, man. be be good for something. Get the likes up, man. Sure, shout. I think I gotta start being like the other people, man. You know, have to end this live stream if y'all get the likes up. Hold on 1 second here. We have a little presentation I'm gonna make here, right? Where we're gonna flow right from this science to the 23.5 degree incline, right? And the seasons, the equinoxes, and the solstices to speak on New Year's for the 5%. So I guess we're gonna just have to have a second question for the day because y'all barely got the likes up. Y'all barely got the likes up. Right. So we're gonna have a new question for today. When is our new year? Because I'm quite sure y'all recall that I didn't say Happy New Year on January 1st. Don't everybody answer at the same time? I don't know. See, I'm not gonna be going. See, give me out some juries day, man. Give me out some juries day, make me feel like I'm casting. Does anyone know when our New Year? You know, the Chinese got their New Year. You know, Christians got their New Year. Muslims got their New Year. So we got a couple of answers right here. We got spring. Today, now. Anyone else? Anyone else? Bueller. Bueller. True self says knowledge day of spring. Spring equinox. Anyone else? Hey, look, if you ain't got no answer, you better already hit the like button. If you ain't got no answer, get the likes up. Divine Understanding said to add on, because the number of days in a year is not a whole number, the sun doesn't arrive at the vernal equinox at the same date every year. You mean not an even number? Well, you got to remember the calendar is arbitrary. You understand what I'm saying? The the universe works by application. So you can have whatever arbitrary method you want. Like for instance, right? Does anybody know, right? We're dealing with the calendar, right? Does anybody know we're right now in the Gregorian calendar? Pope Gregory, he commissioned all of the measurements. So when you see the leap year and all of this stuff is that was, I don't know what the word is, but he was the Pope that was in charge when they made those calculations for the current calendar that we have, right? So we got another question on the table. What calendar were the Christians using before the Gregorian calendar? We should know this one. Boy, y'all lucky I ain't still out there on the corner, boy. Y'all lucky. Y'all lucky, man. This here, man. Oh, man. All this silence from all y'all true and living gods. Divine understanding. Correct. It's all good. Correct. The Julian calendar. Each one teach one. Now, the reason that they switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, we got Encyclopedia Brown in the building. You know, I'm glad you came, Encyclopedia Brown, because we have another part right here on the trader. I learned of actually 2 new traders in terms of the British participation. You know, in fact, which I always knew that to be the history, but John Hawkins, he was amongst the first. You know, his real thing, you know, the other people, I guess they kind of just did like a lightweight hustle. But John Hawkins, his endeavor brought the British crown into the triangle trade. And so that's why his contribution is seen as significant in the beginning. But I'm gonna drop the names of those guys in a minute. But first we dealing with this topic right here, right? But the reason they switched from the Julian calendar is because they just noticed stuff going out of whack. You understand what I'm saying? After a couple hundred years of using the calendar without the proper calculations, right? They started noticing that, you know, spring is coming in the wintertime. You know what I mean? It's snowing in the summertime, et cetera, et cetera. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, that prompted them to realize that their arbitrary calculations was not exact. So, you know, I agree with you. What you said is right and exact. I'm just going into a little detail. But now we're going to have something right here. Shout out to my brother, Father Shaborn. Father Shaborn circulated a little history at the rally. Here is this here. See if I can get this onto the screen. Maybe. What are we seeing now? All right. This right here, brothers and sisters, was a little bit of history right here, right? Circulated by our good brother, Father Shaborn. You know, I asked him, he gave me permission to present this specifically to you. Everybody who, I know I keep saying I'm gonna do it. Everybody who, if you signed up for the email list, I'm gonna be emailing this out to you. So don't worry about it. The rest of y'all, you know, in God we trust, all others must pay cash. But this is the history that we passed out at the rally. right? Our new year. In the year 33 of the Law World Manifest, AC 15,083, or 1997, I was told by my enlightenment Master Barshay Allah that our new year was March 24th, 1967, a Law World Manifest. He then made knowledge born about the history lesson that Born Allah, or Allah be constructed, called the Astrofacts, where he manifested that our 5% nation of gods and earth new year was indeed March 24th, 1967, because that's when Allah returned home back to his 5% nation, for those who he's speaking on when he returned from Madawan. We'll get a little bit more into it in a minute. In addition, God Supreme confirms this in the Son of Man 5% Digest, September 2007 edition, with the Law and Justice on the cover on page 5, when he builds about the first parliaments and house parliaments. Besides both of my brothers telling me word of mouth, you must know your history, study, and learn it. Too many have played cremators and sabotagers with our nation's teachings and true history. God Allah will not be mocked. This is why clear, comprehensive knowledge, wisdom, and understanding must be given to our children and taught within our nation. Word is life. Your brother at your service. Once again, peace, most righteously, Father shall born, eternal great mind. Keep that up on the screen for a little minute for y'all. Well, I don't know how. Yeah, we got to take this down. So, what do y'all have to say about that? A little bit of history. Type 1 in the box if you heard it here first. Was that when they added the month of August? No, the month of August is part of the Julian calendar. August, July and August came into the calendar with the Romans. So, you know, here at Random Jewels, there's a little random jewel for you right there. So now you know that in a couple days, we're going to be having our New Year edition. So hold on, I know we still got Encyclopedia Brown still in here. But while he's here, let us go ahead and go into that little bit of history about the trader. Let's get a little bit more reputable source. Apparently, his son is a little bit more famous than him. But let's see if we can find a little. Okay, so here we go. This site is called Historic England. This site is called Historic England. Hold on, let me get this up on the screen for you. Well. We'll have to change the name of the show till you heard it here first. But let me see if I can get this up on the screen for you. Share a little screen here. Here we go. So this site is called historicengland.org.uk. I'm not familiar with the site. I'm not exactly sure, how much, but it says it's a research site here. So let's see. So it says here you can find out more about the role Britain played in the slave trade and the people involved. So the first slavers, it says here that a Mr. John Locke, John L-O-K, I'm sure my high scientists here are going to want to look these people up. But Mr. John Locke is the first recorded Englishman to have taken enslaved people from Africa. In 1555, he brought 5 enslaved people from Guinea to England. William Towerson, who was actually the name that I was looking up, because I came across something. So like, if y'all are like me, you're gonna look this up for yourself. When I heard this name, being the first person to take slaves in terms of the British, right? I found this. William Towerson, a London trader, also captured people to be enslaved during his voyages from Plymouth to Africa between 1556 and 1557. Despite the earlier involvement of Locke and Towerson, John Hawkins, from 1532 to 1595 of Plymouth, is acknowledged as the pioneer of the English slave trade. So now you have some more to add on when you go through your 136 here. Type 1 in the box if you heard it here first. About Mr. John Locke and Mr. William Towerson. Apparently though, by them bringing their slaves to England, right, it's not the same application as John Hawkins. But again, a little trivia, you heard it here first. Let's get back to the screen here. What you think of my research? What you think of my research there, Encyclopedia Brown? I'm learning, catching up. I gotta get the primaries, I know. So you see the crescent and star as you being born from both sun and moon. The 2 points represent linear direction up and down, the remaining of the crescent, and as a whole, only with the star. So the crescent and moon, as understand. So I'm gonna tell y'all something. You got look. It's just practicality. You're just talking about practical matter. I'm not saying nothing about any individual. That if somebody's been doing something for decades, right? And you start talking about what they've been doing for decades and you confuse them, you see, mathematics is to simplify things. You got to simplify things when you build on it. If you build on it and it becomes more complicated, right? Then first of all, it goes over the heads of the people you really trying to get to. He said, the star is me, and without the mother and the father, the cipher is not complete. So, we got any questions about what was you've been dealing with here so far? You know, uh, in terms of that history, well, you know what? We'll save some of that. We'll save some more of that history of March 24th being our new year. We'll save some of that history for New Year. How about that? But moving right along, I got another question for the day. I got another question for the day. And this is pertaining to the way sometimes we use language, right? And sometimes, the way some people use language, it makes me wonder, what do you mean by it? Like sometimes a person say, whatever the issue is, right? And the person is not going to do nothing about it. And they say, I'm gonna let the universe handle it. What do you mean by that? I know there's some universal laws. You see, remember, man, justice is two sides on that scale. Just I see equality, right? It goes both ways. See, you don't always, you know, reap what you sow. Sometimes you got to sow what you reap. Perfect example, right? We all born here in this society. We're not the ones that strayed away from civilization. We're not the ones that went for the okey doke with the trader. But we the ones that what? Got to get ourselves out of this situation. So that's what I'm saying when you say the universe is going to handle it. What do you mean by that? But when people be returning to the essence, right? and y'all say rest in peace. What do you mean by that? And when you really start, get into what do you mean by that? And when people start speaking about Allah in like as like this disembodied third person, but when you hear people say things like, well, it was predicted, you don't have no plan, right? You ain't got no knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, power, none of that towards making this thing born, right? Making this thing happen, making it a reality, but you say it was predicted. Because see, to me, sometimes, sounds like, Jesus take the wheel. But I'm just checking, asking for a friend, you know. I got a friend that just wants to know if we all on the same page here, right? And you living by knowledge and wisdom, or you living by faith? So what you're saying, no one in here uses that kind of terminology. No one gets on Facebook with the RIP. Katie Robbins said John Hawkins' great grandson went to Africa and apologized for slavery. Did I see that? No, I did not see that. And what year was that? Because that would have to be still in the 1600s, I would think. I already told y'all, man, if y'all ain't got no answers, keep the likes up. Y'all ain't gonna interact with me otherwise, man. See, I'm used to talking outside with people. So see, ain't nobody responding, then it kind of seems like I'm just talking to myself. Which I do that. I talk to myself. See, I don't have to, I can talk to myself without y'all, and then I ain't got to filter what I'm saying. It's building on sow what you reap. Can you go more into building a little on the significance of 379 years or understanding God born? Edwin Urena, True Self said, my meaning of RIP doesn't mean their RIP. Remembered imperfection. Okay. Hey, look, that's all we need is a little bit of clarity. What do you mean by that? what do you mean by that? See, because you got to be careful, man, with bringing all those Christian concepts into this. Over time of you being in a nation, this is one of the changes that you should be seeing. Right? Is looking less and less at the world through that Christian lens, right? Making less and less of the same mistakes. You said the John Harney Hawkins descendant. All right, so that had to be more than that had to be further down than a great grandson. But now it's it. So where did he go? Hold on, let's go ahead and Google that. It's actually quite. Oh, there we go. So this, I guess, this appeared here in the Independent. Independent.co.uk is the site here. Chief reporter Terry Kirby, June 22nd, 2006. Hold on, let's see. Let's get this up on the screen. Let's see, here we go. Sir John Hawkins was a buccaneering Elizabethan seaman and adventurer who helped his cousin Sir Francis Drake beat the Spanish Armada. And he was also one of the pioneers of the slave trade, becoming the first person to buy slaves in West Africa and sell them to Spanish landowners in the Caribbean. Now his descendant, Andrew Hawkins, a youth worker from Cornwall, has delivered an extraordinary personal but public apology for his ancestors' involvement in the slave trade, kneeling in chains in front of 25,000 Africans in a stadium in Banjul, the capital of the Gambia. Mr. Hawkins' apology took place during a trip this month to West Africa organized by the Lifeline Expedition, a charity project aimed at achieving reconciliation over the slave trade. Mr. Hawkins, 37, from, come on, you guys, with the pop-ups. Where is this? Mr. Hawkins, 37, from Lisk here, said yesterday, I apologize on behalf of my family. I apologize for the adults and children taken. I recognize that it's a small, simple act to say sorry, but it was a handful of people who started the slave trade, and the ripples of their actions caused evil throughout the continent of Africa. It was one of the most memorable things I've ever done. It was a learning experience. You see just how deep the wounds left by the slave trade are. As someone with family links to the slave traders, it was very difficult. It was a very difficult thing to see the consequences of their actions. Hopefully, a handful of people can now be the beginning of something good. After he had spoken, the vice president of Gambia, Issatu Ng Sadie, sorry if I chopped up your name there, came forward to accept the apology and symbolically remove the chains. The event was part of the Roots Festival linked to the Alex Haley bestseller Roots, which tells the story of the origins of Black Americans in the slave trade. The Lifeline Expedition group also wore chains and shackles during the Reconciliation War in the village of Jafura, from which Kunta Kinte, the slave whose story is the basis for Roots, is believed to have come from. Mr. Hawkins was among 20 Europeans on the Gambia trip, which is part of a 7-year reconciliation project which started in 2000. It aims to bring people from Africa, the Americas, and Europe together to promote fair trade and foster education about issues of slavery, racism, and reconciliation. What is this here? David Potts, the founder of the Lifeline Expedition, said, "We do not think there has been a really sincere apology from Europeans to Africa, and we want to do our part in trying to redress that. Next year, the group plans a walk between London, Liverpool, Bristol, and Plymouth to mark the 200 years since the abolition of the slave trade in 1807. brothers, I don't know if I can comment on this and keep my channel. I mean, I don't know if y'all want to go that hardcore here. You know, we was having a lighthearted a lighthearted discussion here. You know, we was building on knowledge and understanding. I don't know if do we really want to go down that rabbit hole? I'll leave it up to y'all. Type 1 in the box if y'all really want to go down that rabbit hole. Is this programmed by society? Interesting name. What's your real name? Programmed by society. Says sound like when Ben Affleck apologized and Paul Wall says sorry for their great grandfather's involvement in the slave trade. Paul Wall, you mean the rapper? So I don't know. We only got two ones. We only got two ones in the box right now. I don't know if everybody wants to go down that rabbit hole. Paul Wall apologized, so he knows, you know, for a fact that his great grandfather, wise ruler, he knows for a fact that his great grandfather was a slave owner. That's wild stuff. See, true self, why you trying to cause trouble? So y'all want to go down that rabbit hole. See, KD Robin 7, you really going in. He's gonna hit the super chat so that I go in. But look. That speaks louder than words, I must say. But my take on it is that is the biggest bag of self-congratulatory, patting yourself on the back, commercial bullshit that I have read about, and I can't even tell you the length of time. There was not one positive thing that came across my mind as I was reading that bullshit. See, first of all, it's just a small shit. See, when you're father center, right? And they got it buried way down in there that this is a part of the Roots Festival. So this is a commercial event here. That's full stop. This is a commercial event. Y'all, you know, because look, this is the first I'm hearing about that. Right? Second of all, let me tell you what they're doing. See, what they're doing is they're using the white man's burden, right, on the other side. Meaning when they came in with the bullshit that they're apologizing for, they marketed it, right, to the Christians and the Europeans as, this is our duty. We have to go down here and enslave these people so that we can save their souls. We have to subjugate them so that we can let them get into heaven. And it's just this great burden that the white man has to go to these places like South Africa and all over, you know what I'm saying, and civilize. So now all of a sudden, now you've reversed it. And now you and a handful of people is who's reversing it. Fuck all the people. See, and look, they in England. So maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn in terms of exactly what they say. But I don't recall that history. I don't recall that history. When y'all motherfuckers was down with any of the things that caused us to be free. See, it's this the white man's burden. A handful of people started it, and now a handful of people can, and those handful of people is you, right? See, you gotta recognize this bullshit. This is why I be telling y'all, those left motherfuckers is fucking racist, man. See, they look, I ain't saying that the right is not racist. I'm just saying don't call for a good cop, bad cop, okie doke bullshit. So now these motherfuckers come in. So let me tell you how this shit go. You come in, you jump at the front of the movement, right? All of a sudden, it's a handful of people. You go out and make this bullshit. You in the fucking stadium kneeling down with chains on. What the fuck is that? See, I missed that. But if I would have known that existed, I would say, yeah, see, this is just like when the Congress motherfucker when they in there kneeling down with the dashikis on. They knew what the fuck is that? But see, let me tell you how this shit go. See, they come in like they helping you. Yeah, see, because we're so white and brilliant. We're so white and brilliant that we have, these organizing skills. We need to make a coalition together, right? We need to make a coalition together. Yeah, we're together, brothers. And then see the next thing, transgender is the new black. See, let me tell you something, man. I didn't hit the age where I didn't hit the age, man, where nah, man. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what the fuck it is. That's what the fuck happened. To see, we started out talking about, yo, man, you choked this brother out, man. You ain't had no reason to do that. Even if he passed the motherfucking counterfeit bill, you choked this brother out. The fuck kind of shit is that? See, we started there, and where the fuck we got? abolish the police. Transgender is the new black. The LGBTQ add on more fucking letters. Motherfucking anti-transphobia is racism. So I told y'all, man, let me stop, man, before I don't have no channel. And see, listen, that was amazing to me. That was amazing that they would actually. But see, I'll tell you something. I've been had that theory since I was young. That see, sometimes they'll do some shit, right? And it's like, yeah, if y'all went for that okie doke, they know they're good for another couple hundred years. Like if this shit was supposed to be up in 6,000 years, but y'all still going for that okie doke, yeah, we good for another couple hundred. Clearly. Because y'all ain't ready. It wouldn't matter if it was 60,000. Tell you something. The colored man ain't going to just go jump in the lake. Just because it was predicted, just because it was written down in the lessons. See, the universe was going to handle it, but you're supposed to be God of the universe. So you need to have something to do with it. But yeah, that right there, let me tell you something. That fucking article that I just read, that shit might as well have been the one at 36. You could just gave me the one at 36. That shit, what they did right there, where they said that he went and apologized, and then the president of the African country went and accepted the apology. My man, I'm sure y'all recognize the wisdom ability story degree when y'all hear it. I'm sure y'all recognize the wisdom ability story degree when y'all hear it. See, let me tell you something. You want to apologize? Give my fucking money back first. Then we can talk about that sorry shit. Maybe I digress. Maybe that's a part, we have been to America and living in the society, how the brother name is. Maybe I've been programmed by this society to want my fucking money back before we talk all this fucking flowery shit. That's why you gotta stop these people in their tracks, man. I'm telling you, watch those people on the left, man. See, you know I'm cool with the people on the right because they the devil I know. See, one thing about Trump, you can't say he trying to pull the wool over your eyes. I don't like no snakes, but I'd rather them don't be in the grass if they got to be around. That was uncanny. If they had the unmitigated goal to put that shit in the paper. They're still fooling them with their acts of apology, even after 379 years. They listen. You heard what the lesson say? They made blind, deaf, and dumb by the devil when they babies. So guess what? They're going to continue going through the okie doke. See, the lesson I already told you, man. The righteous Muslims is only a segment, right? The 5% is only a segment of that 17 million. Lord Bernie. Kim Salon. That's why I said with no with no talking gold. Not nowadays. You know what's funny too, DeBar? I saw a brother today, right? And I used to always laugh at that because like I used to maintain with these African brothers downtown. And one thing about them that I used to find uncanny is that they could tell at least what country, but a lot of times they could tell what tribe. They could tell what tribe a person was. Like this, walking down the street, they'll be like, "Yo, this person's from this country right here. They from that tribe, right?" And then we'd stop the person that asked them, and that's where they would be from. And I saw this dude today, right? And then when he was talking, he sounded just like you, DeBart. Like it could have been you. Like it was like when he said it, I was like, "Oh, you Yoruba." I felt like I was down. I felt like I was down when I knew that. But it's like as soon as I heard him talk, I was like, "Oh yeah, he's from the same village with the bar. His family, they probably related." He did actually kind of look like you now I think about it. But see, he had a beard, like a full beard. So that probably would threw me off. Yeah, you gotta say you gotta keep a stick to keep beating the grass to startle the snakes and get them to pop out and chop their head. You gotta cut the grass. See, because snakes is them kind of animals, you know. Snakes don't never attack you when you're looking at them. Like if you know you cornered them off and they in defense mode, what they gotta do, but snakes don't attack you from the front. And you ain't never heard of one. Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody who got more experience out in the wild, but I ain't never heard a person say a snake chased them down. Like they seen a rattlesnake right there and they started running and shit, and the rattlesnake chased them down like a bear or some shit. Even animals that they hunt, that's their tactic against them. And they see the snake, they all look at it and make a whole bunch of noise, and the snake realizes he got to get up out of there because even if he get a kill, he ain't gonna make it. The black mamba is snapped from down out the tree. Yeah, it's still an ambush. They don't chase you like a lion, you know, or is fighting with you. The element of surprise is how they operate in my knowledge. You know, to my knowledge, you know, what I know of them. When you said social media, you said Paco from KTU returned. Who's Paco? water moccasins chase people? Or chase not even people, but chase prey? In the water, the moccasins are aggressive. I mean, possibly because they have a much greater advantage, or at least they feel that they do, against a mammal in the water. Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to ask KB Rob. It's like they're aggressive in the water, right? But are they attacking from under? Are they attacking from behind? All of these things is different. But just in general, that's whenever, I mean, in anything, if somebody, whatever it is, you walking down the street and somebody's scheming like they trying to rob you or whatever, what I'm saying? When you see them and that, that takes away a large part of their effectiveness. Yeah, I've seen water moccasins before, but I've never seen them chasing them. Um, but that was, we've been pretty action packed today. You know, we got some little bit of new knowledge. You know what I'm saying? I actually did even more learning, but I digress. You got any last questions before we wrap this one up? Got a little happy chicken and some pasta I gotta get to. So again, the people that just came in, I guess you'll have to rewind this to check out the history that we gave here on our New Year. Yeah, I'm on tomorrow night. Little history gave on our New Year. A little bit of history about the traders. You know what I'm saying? In the degree it says, trader, but we know that they call it the diaspora, but it's not like we went voluntarily. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't, we didn't come to America for opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Uh, he said built on 379 years. Well, what aspect of the 379 years? Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, you're right. Shoot, so they gotta look. Yeah, y'all gotta get the likes up, man. I'm gonna have to. We gotta have to do members only. We gonna have to do members only live streams, making these things unpublic. Uh, yeah, that was the last number. Um, we actually, a lot of brothers still play that number to the day. You know, in particular, like out of all of the numbers in the lesson, why that was a particular number. Uh, I don't know, but in terms of dealing with it in the mathematics, right? You got, it's how would you say, myriad ways, right? For every mathematics, it's 9 ways to break it down, right? So, I could give you one right now, for example, right? A lot of these people right here, for example, you know, uh, how you can see certain things when you use the lesson mathematically, right? So you got 379, right? And we know what this is pertaining to, right? Now, uh, let's look at the 37th degree and the ninth degree. You know 120? To see if you know 120, right? And you know those degrees, then you can see how that relates to uh the rest of the 120. The things that come right after that. Not knowing he's the uncle, not speaking his own language, liking the devil because the devil gives him nothing. You still only want 36. Yeah, that's why you got it. So I went a little bit. Let's come back down. That's my fault. But just for the future, right? When you get to there, right? The 37th degree. Well, let's go into that second. What's the point? The people that know 120, you see what I'm saying? We'll just give the question. 37, 27. That will see when I say the degree, when I say degree, right, without specifying a lesson, that means the 1 to 40. But when I say the 37th degree, I mean the 37th degree in the 140. In the 9th degree in the 140. You see, you got you on the 136. You in the 136. So see, you gotta break that down with the 110. You always gotta use the stuff that you know in order to understand, whatever can't be seen by the naked eye. What degree you on in the 136? You take it to the 10th degree in the 110. The wrong foods is Christianity and fear. But I'm saying, uh, how do you relate that to the 379 years, you know what I'm saying? And it is related, but I just want to see if you know how. FDJ Beats. You there, Katie Robbins? Yeah, but you ain't talking about the 11th degree. You talking about the 3rd degree. So you gotta see when you're using the math, right? You remember you added and multiplying. You see, even if you gonna add, right, 379 with that bonus. Another guy said he went up 10 questions from 11 to 27. Yeah, that born is knowledge born. And then with that born, And you look at the 11th degree and the 136, you can take it back to the 10th degree. All right. Now, another guy said he went 10 questions. He went up 10 questions from 11 to 27. I can't. That must be that new math. But back to our point over here, right? So that borns knowledge, right? And then what's the knowledge degree in the 1 to 10? Your your knowledge degree says who is the first intelligence? Who is the original man? Right, that's what I thought. Now, in the in the in the in the 1 to 10, of course, right? It's talking about the original man and his full of self, right? All the way from just being, a black man, right? With everybody walking around to being God of the universe. You see what I mean? Now the uncle is the original man without the proper knowledge of himself. And the reason that he doesn't have the proper knowledge of himself is the things that you said. And see, now we could go right into the 1 to 10 now, right? We go to the 3rd degree, the 7th degree, and the 9th degree. And what that's telling you, well, I'm not going to say what that's telling you, but what can you draw from that, right? The 3rd degree is the people, right? These are the things that we need, right, to get to where we need to go, right? To reverse this 379-year process, right? You got the 3rd degree is the people. What's the 7th degree? We got the land. And what's the 9th degree? We got our knowledge and our culture, right? And these is the things that we need to reverse all those elements of being blind, deaf, and dumb in that continue on through the 1 to 36. We keep going. But see, that's not the point. See how I did that? You can do that. That's what I'm saying. You gotta know the math. See, that's why you gotta know your lessons like that too. Because you can't go through all that and draw that up if you don't know the lesson. Ultimately, that's the same thing that I was going to tell you with the 37th degree and the ninth degree and the 1 and 40. If we would have drew it up through there. See, that's another thing that you learn and that you building on the lessons and you building in different sites, you building with different people, right? You got to come on a level. You see what I'm saying? Because if you start tucking all this shit, right? I ain't gonna say shit. You start dropping serious knowledge, but in a way that the people can't understand. You the 10%. There's nothing more pure. There's no more pure definition of you keeping the wisdom above people's heads. Yeah, I gotta do some editing. I gotta get down to some editing. I gotta get that machine so I can make the salsa water myself. So I've been thinking about it. Right? I'm gonna go ahead and do that. A little slice of lemon. But yeah, I gotta get that edited. Yeah, that's actually uh that last part was very good. You know, these people I keep telling them, I don't know. I don't know. It's someone here, someone here, give people all my jewels, man. They just fall asleep on me or something. But really, yeah, we was already wrapping this up. Brother asked a question about just I guess some understanding on the 379 years and how to break that down with some mathematics. Other than that, I guess we'll give one more call for any last questions. This from now on, it's gonna be to get the likes up channel. I'm gonna have to start doing like the other hosts. Yes, look, have to end the live stream if we don't get the likes up. We had about a good 5 or 6 questions today. Only about 3 or 4 people answered. When we make the sundial out of the universal flag, I mean, I suppose you could. I mean, that's one of those things. You know, uh, you know, you reach a point, right, where you gotta take the sure shots, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta realize, right, that you know we God, man. You know what I'm saying? The women is earth. You understand what I'm saying? We the supremest form of existence, the most supreme form of existence, right? The highest form of intelligence, all these things, right? You know, sometimes we gotta weigh and judge if something is worth the application of our intelligence. You understand what I'm saying? If we got global problems to solve, I ain't talking about what's going on in Ukraine. I'm talking about the original man, right, all over the planet needs to, be at a point where they got at least the freedom, right, to manifest the greatness that's in us. He said, stand on the seventh. I mean, I don't, you said, can you make the sundial out of the universal flag stand on the seventh? I mean, I'm trying I can't really visualize what it is that you're saying. That's what I can't get a clear mental picture of what it is that you're saying. Stand on the seventh. Well, at any rate, I guess, like I said, you know how we do. You made it this far in the live stream. Do each one, teach one. Hit the like button. Share this out so that the people know, you know, to come celebrate New Year's Day, 5% New Year's Day. And you Rana said, I think he might be saying the seven could be raised as the sundial. So you saying stand the seven up perpendicular? Lenny Green on WBLS is doing tributes to Chuck Chill Out tomorrow, you saying? I mean, so that's what you're saying. If you stood the seven up perpendicular, I mean, yeah, but I don't, like I said, it's like Katie Roberts. I mean, yeah, that's the news that I heard. I haven't confirmed it, but yeah, I mean, it's some things. I mean, if that's like if you into if you into building things or whatever, you know what I mean? Like you got the metal sculpture in the yard with the universal flag or whatever. And so you trying to make something, and that's what you do, make sundials or whatever. Uh, but I mean, like if you're saying like that's the signs of time or something on the flag now, but I think it would be, um, it would be creative, it would be something, I would say like if you were selling something like that, I might buy it. But that's not like how we, next thing, especially, I gotta watch what I say. Whew. But next thing you know, people will be talking about that's the science of the flag. It's also the wheel. What wheel? I know you ain't talking about the wheel. I think you're talking about. Is he talking about the wheel? I think he's talking about. Now, VC round that can't be what he's talking about. That can't be what he's talking about. Bedbug 120. Tell us that you're talking about some, let's know the wheel that you're talking about so I can shut these guys up. He said just a circle with rays. Yeah, I told you he's talking about just a circle with rays. See, all of you have filthy minds. You all have filthy minds. You all have filthy minds. Trying to put that on Bedbug 120 when he was talking about just a circle with rays. VCO, why he trying? Why he trying to start trouble? He said just the representation of a complete cipher. But I'm saying he said whole doesn't mean complete. Give me an example. Doesn't mean CIA. Maybe we should. Just want to make sure, you know, we from Bedbug one from. Yeah, give an example. How is the CIA? You're saying the CIA is whole, but it's not complete. That, well, I mean, nobody really was on. It's not even He-Man woman hating stuff. It's just that, you know, uh, it's, you know, it just appears to be, uh, you remember a couple of weeks ago when we had that show, you know, when you know, don't play along with bullshit. It just seems that there's just a large contingent of brothers that seem to have just fallen for the okie doke, you know, in particular what Wise Prince is talking about is I wanted to I was talking to him about a live stream where maybe a sister could come on and explain to us, or maybe one of y'all know, what is emotionally available. Like what, you know, because I don't know what it is. And it's not something that I would have learned, you know, like I'm saying, the the man that I know that was born the longest time ago is my great grandfather. He was born like around 1890 or something like that, 1888, 1890, something. Uh, you know, being that I don't know what emotionally available is, maybe I didn't, you know, maybe I didn't pick up on it from him, but I don't think, you know, I think if you know, if somehow we can go against the grain and do what hasn't been done in all the history of Islam, right? And bring my great grandfather, my grandfathers, even my father back right now, right? Uh, I think they will all be at a loss for what I mean. Like they would probably be asking, like, "Yo, son, what has gone on since We thought you had this, bro. You know what I'm saying? But kind of this world where right and wrong in some cases can be measured by emotion, right? Where I could say something to you, right? And it could be right, but I ain't say it with the right sensitivity. You know what I'm saying? Or you can tell somebody, look, you're doing something wrong, right? And they'll say, yeah, but the way you said it, it was like you was just tearing me down, like you didn't give me a solution. See, the clear solution is for you to stop doing the wrong. what part? And see, once upon a time, I'm just saying, like I'm saying across the board, like, look, like, say I play football. Now, you got the first part of the season, y'all doing that. Y'all going through the drills, you practicing tackle and all that stuff like that, right? Look, when you miss the tackle, yo, my man, get off the field, give me 5 laps, and you come back and see if you know how to tackle. It wasn't, because I was before the everybody's a winner. I was before the everybody's a winner era. And I just think that people are not used to hearing men talking. Men are not used to talking, and men, right? See, here's the thing, man. It appears to me that the word no is kind of dropped out of the lexicon of brothers. You know, uh, just a couple of things I've been noticing just from my observation, you know, that brothers is, on the the side of the women, I've also been noticing that women have a masculinity, right? But their masculinity is kind of stuck in adolescence. Like they in their gang banging phase where, you know, the slightest thing is disrespect. You know what I'm saying? You know, they ready to fly into the rage and they want the gang there. Because see, you start to be, but then it becomes you gotta protect women. Which I think is another place where somehow society has got things mixed up. See, a man protects his woman, right? And a community of men protect their community of women. You see, you got to be a part of the community And look, hopefully I have a channel after this. But look, all this independent stuff is not community. There's some things that seem pretty simple to me that, I wanted to have a live stream, and I was thinking that maybe Waz's sister can break it down to me, like what emotionally available means, because, I'm not, I've been told pretty across the board that I'm emotionally unavailable, in some ways. I guess this might be the hating part that Wise was talking about, is that it kind of seems like, like even when you say available, right? Available for what? You know, Women control and manipulate through emotions. And so, at least in some of those cases, I can't say all of them, right? But at least in some of those cases that I've been called emotionally unavailable, is that, yeah, I was unavailable to be emotionally blackmailed with your bullshit. See, I know exactly how to use the word no. That's amongst the first words of all people. And see, when no means no, that's another time where I've seen that, emotionally unavailable. So perhaps, man, I don't know why we have to schedule that. Let me know when your sister is available. We're gonna be on tomorrow. We're gonna be on New Year's Day, of course. But those really is those are questions. It's just questions. Asking for a friend. Nah, I don't think 120 is that same person. I don't know if anybody remember we had a little martial arts demonstration. A brother from Instagram sent me a little martial arts demonstration. 793rd for that matter. what, what the fuck is love language, trauma bonding, manifesting, and all those other new terms they invent daily to express a particular emotion, phase, or thinking still in a still developing mind. I mean, not for nothing, yeah, these things, I wonder about these things too. Just kind of like categorization of say, trauma brings emotional irregulation. Black men in America have experienced generational trauma. Emotional irregulation is normalized and has become an expectation in our community. Uh, I mean, you know, a lot of this psychological stuff, you know, they got the research, they got the data, so I'm not gonna argue with them. But look, you got people like look at Snoop Dogg, look at Dr. Dre, you know what I mean? Look at RZA, these are people that, well, for RZA, I could say, yeah, I know him. It's actually that, he went through the same trauma that a lot of the rest of us went. You know what I mean? Snoop, Dr. Dre, they from LA. They got a unique trauma going on in LA, right? But, we just blaming all that, right? And then it's like not looking at the fact that, we remain in that environment. Like, I think that's a little bit of a misunderstanding right now. Another thing that's just going on in society where it's like, people are not acknowledging that this system is still built in a way where it's like, okay, there's not exactly chains holding you down. There's not, do not enter signs holding you back. But the system, I mean, look, unless you subscribe to the white supremacy theory, right? Then you gotta tell me why you got the top 20 richest people right now. Most of them was not the top 20 richest people even 20 years ago. So you got all these new people that came into the top 20, right? You got Chinese people, Indian people, white people from Europe, white people from America. You ain't got no black people. You know what I'm saying? Unless you know what I'm saying, at that point, you know what I'm saying, where you're saying that, okay, there's no, first of all, residual effect of what's been happening in this country, right? And if you're saying that, we always, like, don't get me wrong, you got people that come up, like, you have 9/11, and then all of a sudden, you know, people of Arab descent is public enemy number one. Or this other thing might happen. But look, at any and all times, you public enemy number one. Like you see, even what John Hawkins' descendants said, that you still see the scars right now. Like a lot of these things, it's like that's kind of left out. Like, even like say this, right? There's some places I know outside of New York, like the South Side of Chicago, right? But even in New York, you got places, not even in New York, but in New York, you got places like Brownsville, East New York, right? You got places like Red Hook, right? East Harlem. These areas have been criminal areas for over 100 years. The different places that I talked about, right, is the birthplace of Cosa Nostra. That's where all of I ain't gonna say it was the birth, but I'm saying all of the famous people in that world that you hear about, from Al Capone to Red Hook, Murder Incorporated from Brownsville, East New York. So what I'm saying is that when those areas had Jews and Italians there, they was producing criminals. But then those same Jews and Italians moved to Staten Island, Howard Beach, New Jersey, Long Island, all over the rest of America. And never lived like that again. The Lower East Side has been producing gangs since the 1800s. So, you know, is it necessarily all this generational trauma, or is it the ongoing trauma, right, that you letting these people off of the hook for still keeping us in? Now, I might be trying to reverse the logic. Maybe y'all could tell me if I am. Because, see, my point, why I would say I'm not reversing it, is because of what I always say, that, see, just because you're not responsible for something happening, don't mean that you're not responsible for providing a solution. See, I don't know how long you watching the channel, but I gave the example of, if you see a lion running down the street right now, not a big house cat, a fully grown lion running down the street, somebody fucked up. Somebody at the circus or the zoo fucked up. You see, you're the one who's responsible. You're the one who's responsible for getting out the way of that line. You're the one that's responsible for not getting ate up. But I'm just saying that we need to know, right? If we running 100 meters, is it a 100-meter dash or is it 100-meter hurdles? Is it the 100-meter steeplechase? It's not that we can't finish the course and we still can't win, but we need to know what we need to know what the course is. We need to know we got knowledge is power. So we never had the opportunity to heal. If you injured and you stay on the battlefield, poverty, ignorance, how will you heal from your trauma? I mean, I think you hit it on the head right there. That, more so than any more so than any generational trauma. Because I'm saying, I don't want to compare degrees, who had it worse or who had it best, but I'm saying there's plenty of, generational traumas, like, what I'm saying, and why are those traumas not still showing up in other communities? I'm saying, like, what are they doing? What is this method of healing? Because we need to master it. Like, how long does it take to heal generational trauma? So you're saying the generational trauma of chattel slavery, but I'm saying, do we have any examples of people who have healed their generational trauma? Epigenetics of trauma. But that's what I'm saying. Epigenetics has a lot to do with environment. It's the environment that your genes is in. And epigenetics, uh, it is ongoing. It continues to uh, impact the expression of your genes even once you're born. Rwanda. So what happened in Rwanda where generational trauma was healed? And I got another question too, right? What caused that generational trauma to manifest so greatly and violently, specifically coinciding with drugs in our community? Meaning, you know, just a lot of manifestations of the generational. You ever see it was always white people. Like why, if there's a time, because a lot of the things that's explained as manifestations of generational trauma, if there was a time that this trauma should have manifested it, that this trauma should have manifested, right? Wouldn't the Reconstruction era be prime time for that? Like, why did it take 100 years? Why did it take 100 years for that to manifest? When those people had already been in that situation for almost 400 years. So whatever generational trauma, right? There had been like 50 generations or something for it to affect the people and for it to manifest. So you're saying, so how did the generational trauma manifest during Reconstruction? I mean, listen, man. I, you know, I barely got a channel left now, Rule. I don't think I would, you know. See, one thing about this generational trauma thing, right, is at least the way I first started hearing, right? But it's like just a way for people to explain away their bad behavior. Because I mean, to me, it's just like, so what about this, right? If we saying generationally, right? Then let's say from the year 1 AD, right? Let's not even say, let's say from the year uh 2000 BC, right? Up until 1500, right? From 2000 BC to 1500 AD, right? That's 3,500 years, right? How many generations is that? You can imagine, right? Versus 400 years, and how many generations that is. So how come those 3,500 years of how come those 3,500 years of whatever was going on in those, the generations of Timbuktu, the generations of Great Ghana and Great Songhai, you know, how come those generational characteristics? I mean, they should, at least manifest sometimes, because other things in our DNA can be traced to people that far back, where they can say, okay, this characteristic that you have right here came from this, what do they call them again? The variations in the DNA expression that bring about certain characteristics. They can say, okay, this variant right here came about in this time. The transmission of knowledge was broken. 136 teaches us how it disconnected. So where I'm born can build on the Africanism of Black men in America. See, I'm gonna tell you something. And look, this might be a cheap out. You see, no transmission wasn't broken with me. Actually, G once said, at a point, it just becomes looking for all types of excuses for falling short. No self accountability leads to all type of paranormal blaming. Yeah, I mean, look, you know what's bad? Another thing that might be skewing my outlook. Let me ask Let me ask everyone, right? When is the first time you started hearing about generational trauma? Maybe it was the context in which I started hearing it that is throwing me off. Exactly. If you're going to say the trauma is in the genes, you got to say the triumph is in the genes too. And why is it not manifesting? Because look, not even saying what you're saying is not true, but that's what we need to master. We need to master how to not make those epigenetics manifest, right? And make the epigenetics from Timbuktu manifest. Shakim, you have to do the work at addressing and healing your trauma. It's called resilient. No, we already resilient. That's what we still doing here. But this is what I'm saying. You know where to heal my trauma? If they give us our money back, that heal my trauma right up. Like we was on Star Trek and Bones hit me with the machine. That killed me right up. Like there's just a couple reasons I don't buy that. I'm gonna tell you another thing. Some of the wildest people that did, some things that I considered heinous. Like, they was, but look, if you knew them as little kids, they was the sweetest little kids. You can go on the level 4, you can go on the level 4 yard in any state in America. And I guarantee you, if somebody in their family pull out that picture with their with their hands to their chin like this, I don't know if y'all still take that picture these days. If you was born in 1970, you got that picture, put your hand into your chin like this. The sweetest little guys, man. And it's shit that they see and shit that happens in the course of their own life. That even if that trauma is there, it's stuff that happens in the course of their life that cause it to epigenetically manifest. Now, Ru, you remember a movie? You remember a movie called Trading Places? That's a little bit far back. 793rd, I ain't talking to you. I raised 793rd about to break the whole plot down to you. Now listen, ultimately, I think that's our conversation that we having right here. If you recall, right, it was about nature versus nurture, right? You took this homeless guy, scammer, right? And you took this dude who was, upper crust, generational wealth, this guy, generational poverty. And see what would happen if you put each of them in each other's environment. I got another question. Why does the generational trauma appear to manifest more and more violently in cities than in urban environments than in rural environments? No one still said, I want somebody else to say it. I don't want to say it. I want y'all to say it so I can keep the channel. Where was the first, what was the first context that you started hearing about generational trauma? Racism? No, that's not the first place I heard it. But I mean, if that's the first place you heard it, that's what I'm saying. Nobody's gonna say no. Where's the first context that you heard this spoken about? Like I said, maybe that's what's throwing me off. Drugs, okay. Post-traumatic slave syndrome. All right. Now I think about it, I did kind of hear about that. There used to be this guy that was a psychiatrist. He used to be on the radio in New York. He had a talk show, and he used to talk about that a lot. He was supposed to have been one of the psychologists that they developed the whole idea of that. But like I said, that was more of just coming from the academic point of view. But I'm saying when I first started hearing people say, I'm suffering from generational trauma, that wasn't the context. As you said, in regards to one culture succeeding in another, poor people exceeding in a rich person, social equality within a rich person exceeding in a poor society, trading places. Yeah. Oh, yeah, great analogy. Yeah. That, Yeah, I'm not gonna say it, man, because y'all already got me. Did Colin Ferguson use any of that in his self-defense court? Now, I don't think they was quite had that idea developed yet. But Colin Ferguson was definitely uh, a wild boy. Apparently, he shot up the LIRR because he felt like, I guess the train that carried the white people ran perfectly, whereas the Franklin Avenue shuttle didn't run as well as he would like. And the Franklin Avenue shuttle, of course, runs through black neighborhoods. So, at least what I understood of what his defense was. But yeah, though, Narul, I don't know, maybe we could talk about it another time. But those questions wasn't uh rhetorical. Like those is questions that you have to answer uh to say that this is the reason for something. Like you have to understand why it's manifesting in some cases and why it's not manifesting in other cases. Why does it manifest more in some places than in other places? Because there's other uh I guess those are psychological too, right? But Naru, have you heard of the relatively deprived? Khalid Muhammad caught some flack for defending Colin Ferguson. He's slow gassing now. He's slow gassing now. Naru. So I guess we'll go ahead and wind this one down. Uh, I guess once again, everyone do the each one teach one. Hit the like button. You know, share this one out. We got a little bit unfocused at the end here, but we had some real good moments in the beginning that I think some people would be interested in. In the meantime, in between time, we're gonna sign off right now. And we'll be back tomorrow, most likely a little bit earlier in the day. You know what I'm saying? But we will be making that happen, and we will be on New Year's Day. So with that, I'm signing off and say peace.